My name is Jeremy Johnson, and today I will be discussing the three things that I believe will play factors in my work and in any life and situation in general. Oil shortage, economic downfall, and environmental issues. I feel like all three of those things are very, very important, and they're all at work as we speak right now in different ways. Oil shortage, I believe that is a thing that's not discussed nearly as much as it should be, because the prices of gas and how it's been going up and down, and it's nothing about it is stable. It's telling. We have ignored it. We just ignore it because, like, at the time, economically, we're okay for the moment, and so that's what we're living in. We love to live in the moment. However, we're not preparing for the future. If things were, as they say, if they were as great as they're saying they are, then gas wouldn't be fluctuating like this. Jobs wouldn't be fluctuating like this. Just the environment is different. The temperatures of, like, it is 100 degrees almost every day, even at nighttime now. Everywhere, like the degrees, the sun is getting closer. Nobody wants to acknowledge that fact either. We Money has half of the value that it used to have. You can have $1,000 today. Nobody looks at $1,000 as any money, but $1,000 in 2000 or in 2005, that's a lot of money. But nowadays, $1,000 is like having maybe $100. Like, it has a portion, a fraction of its value, because of a lot of misprinting that the Treasury Department does when they create, more money for the Federal Reserve and everything like that. But But we just have to get together and acknowledge that there are problems. That's the biggest thing. We have to get together and acknowledge that there are problems. Um, I liked Orlov's idea of maybe having $1. We all save $1, but I do think that would be a hard thing to get people to, subscribe to. Considering that I think this generation loves arguing. We just like to be on the other side of somebody else's opinion. We don't we don't really care if it's right or wrong. We just like being on the other side. And that's a bad thing. That's a very bad thing, because when we do that, we disconnect from our own as people. We disconnect from our own, like, connections as people. What could bring us together is we just decide to not do that, and we just rather do something that brings us apart. Um, what he promotes is that what he subscribes to is that if we get together and we make plans and start making preparations and aspirations of what we can do in the future, instead of the real wealthy people, if they start in using their money to invest in land and helping other people who are not so fortunate, then maybe they can leave something for their own children, for their grandchildren in the future. However, he believes that if they don't do this and they keep putting money into their own personal portfolios, then they won't have anything in the end anyway, because the value of money is becoming nothing. So that is what my generation now has to deal with, because the issue is money is being promoted and printed at such a rapid pace that its value is just constantly, constantly dropping. And if we don't do something about it, and if we don't acknowledge it, then it's going to be an economic downfall. There's just no way around it. Not only here in the United States, but globally, the world will have a downfall. Oil shortage, again. I believe that if oil is becoming a thing of the past now. We've used oil so much. We've been so obsessed with oil for the last 15 years that we've just consumed it all, and there's nothing else now for us to do except we're on limited resources, and we haven't made any preparations. So if we don't start preparing, I understand that this is the real thing. If we don't start preparing right now, then we're all in trouble. Not just my generation, but my children's generation and their children's generation. There won't even be a generation for them to have if we don't come together now. I feel like the time has already passed. We're already past the expiration date of starting. And we still are out here fighting about if it's real or not. And it's hard to argue every day when new information comes out every day that promotes that a change is not happening. It's happened.